So the goal of this video is to address the ultimate training aid, a training device we've developed to learn how to not only play the game, but understand your pool cue's performance. The ultimate training aid is 3 rods, and you shoot between them with a center aiming, and you can adjust the difficulty, which would be the gap between the outside rods to center. So we're going to go over the adjustments of this unit, the training aid, and any repair that may be required because an elastic band broke. So we're going to go over both those, starting with repairing, or replacing, I shouldn't say repairing, it's a bad word, replacing an elastic band that is old and worn out. Green-handled Robertson is the only tool required besides wire cutters, but I mean to move and use anything on this is all green-handled Robertson. We're going to use a pair of scissors just to simply cut the elastic band into shape and length, and a little tiny pair of wire cutters could do the same thing. Take the top off. Everything is underneath here. I'll also talk about how to put the screws back in where you don't simply cut a whole bunch of threads all the time and you keep using the same threads. It'll last you a lifetime if you do that. We'll go over that at the end when I put this back together. So there are 4 spacers inside here. And as you can see, they're labeled in thousandths of an inch. I'm an old guy, I don't know metric well. 2.3, 2.27, 2.25, 2.4. That would be the easiest, the 2.4. 2.5 would be the exact same size as a ball. What these spacers do, by the way, is they set this gap of the 2 outside rods. If you make them 2.25, the same size as a ball, good luck going clean through there when you're shooting it. You're going to rub one of them. I like it at around 2.3. My cohort, he likes it around 2.25. We each have our own personal preferences. But what we're going to talk about is spacing these rods to set the difficulty of the training aid. 2.3 is what we're going to use. I'll lay the rest down here. All this is a spacer. And we're concerned about the space in there, which the measurement doesn't matter. What matters is when we put it in there, which is already set up for 2.3, when we do that on both sides, we will have a perfectly on center spacing of those 2 outside rods at the desired difficulty level of the spacer you pick. So first thing we're going to do is loosen up the 2 outside rods. You should never need to touch the center rod, with the exception of replacing the elastic band. So don't touch the center rod. You can see these lines here are all lined up. I'll get the elastics out of the way. There's even the same line as on the top of the, what we call a T-block, right through. That's the center line of the whole unit. The center is on that center line. Leave it alone. You never need to touch that. But we do need to touch the T-blocks on either side. So we'll open them up. Now we're going to set them to my favorite setting, 2.3, which is simply just put them between, against center, push the side in until you are squeezing against. You don't need to be bar tight, just pushing with my finger against the spacer. And make sure the spacer is at least down to equal with the bottom of the T-block on the bottom and takes up that entire length of space down there. Pushing it against the spacer and against the center rod with minimal pressure just to hold it in place. Just simply tighten the 2 screws. That side's done. Take it out of there, pop it in the other side. make sure it's sitting straight up and flush down. Hold it against the block, the spacer block. Tighten the 2 screws. Done. So you've set the difficulty right now of this training aid to 2.3 inches. The ball is, or 2.300 if you want to hear it that way. The ball is 2.250. So 50 thousandths of an inch is all the gap that we've set on both sides. That is not a lot of space. And that's an achievable space to go clean through when you're shooting good. This will teach you to do that shooting good part. That's all you need to do to adjust the difficulty. If you want to make it easy right now while you get learning, go with the 2.400. You want to really be difficult but achievable, go with the 2.270. My day-to-day spacing when I use this is 2.300. My cohort's day-to-day spacing is 2.25. He loves to be rubbing the rods and seeing where he's right. He wants to really be accurate. So that's it for setting the spacings. Now, what about replacing the elastic bands? And all the elastic bands do is bring them back to center. They sit right in there and pulls it back. And they are repeatable right back to the exact same spot because there's only enough room for the rod to return right back to the exact same spot. So we're going to go through the motions of replacing an elastic band even though there's neither broken one. If you make the tension of the elastic band too tight, they will wear out faster. You don't need a lot of tension, and we'll go through that. But right now, we'll pop one out. So we'll replace this elastic band, which in the world would be broken right now. So I'll get the remaining part of the elastic band out of there. These dollar store elastic bands and dollar store toothpicks, they're just your round toothpick, point on both ends. This hole in here for the elastic band has been made such that when the elastic band is in there, the toothpick goes tight with it and locks it in place, just like over here. Right? Dollar store toothpicks, dollar store elastic bands. Easy to maintain, cheap to maintain. Take care of it. Very, very accurate tool to learn to play pool. So I'm going to take the elastic band, and on one end I'm just going to cut it off, and on the other end make 2 equal halves out of the elastic band. So there's 2 rod elastic bands right there for this elastic band, whatever they would be in a dollar store. They're about, I don't know, 2 inches diameter. So the first thing we're going to do is feed this down into the rod. And in the hole, we'll see inside the hole, we'll see the elastic band show up. Take a toothpick and push it out so we can get a hold of it and tie a knot. Times 2. So just keep pushing it out the other side as best you can until you can get a hold of it. Now you can use the elastic band so you don't accidentally pull it right through while you tie the knot. You need 2 knots on this side because that hole requires 2 close knots to stop from pulling back. So we just tied 1 granny half right there of a knot. Get it close to the end. You don't need to. So there it is. Not too tight because it'll pull up through. And another not so tight knot right behind it. And you set this up. So there's the 2 knots. One right behind the other. Snug, not too tight. Now I can pull this back up and they're up inside. Nope. Knot's not tight enough. Or not big enough is a better word. Because I never made them too tight, I can undo it again. Toothpick helps for that too. Good luck trying to put this back the other way, up through the rod. That's just not going to happen. All right, tie these knots again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a double one in there. That'll work. One round through. So I rotated that up through twice. Now I'm going to pull that tight. That'll make a bigger knot. There we go. I like to keep it close to the loose end. Now we got a bigger knot. Put another one behind it. Okay. Only problem is we're going to start over. Helps put it on the rod first. So, put it back on the rod first. Got a hold of it, put it down so far, put a bit of toothpick in there. Now I can tie the knots again. Again, I'm going to do it with a double knot first. One knot that's tied around twice. Put through the hole twice, I should say. There we go. There. Put another knot behind that. With that big old knot on there, pull it all up through. Push that in. That's all we need. Now I like to cut off the excess that sticks out of the hole. It just looks better. So that's good. Now we're just going to feed the elastic band up through what we call the T-block. And as you can see, it's a T because it's across here and straight up through there. Just poke that up through the hole till it comes out the top. I can get a hold of it on the other side. Now the tension. Like I said, the tighter we have it, the faster that'll return when it's down on the table nice. But the tighter it is, the shorter the life of the elastic band. So I'm going to show you how to set the length of the toothpick at the same time. So we got a toothpick right about there where it starts to grab. Put it up about 2 inches, bring it over toward the center. Put your toothpick in there. Now that's a good tight, that's a good tension, and the elastic band will probably last months before it breaks. Who knows about even longer. But how long does that toothpick have to be? There is a space under the cover that the spacers fit into. So take a spacer, put it alongside the toothpick, cut it off that high. Now your toothpick has a height that fits under the cover. That's how you set the height of the toothpick. So we've replaced that elastic band that in the world at some point had broken. Got a nice tension. That's going to return that to center, especially when it's hanging down straight. It just comes back fairly quickly. It'll be back there before you need to shoot again, that's for sure. If you bring it back with too much tension, it'll be back faster, but the elastic band's life will be shorter. I don't like changing them when I don't have to, so I prefer to do this. So we've set the spacing on this ultimate training aid at 2.300. We've set that spacing to my favorite spacing. We've repaired a broken elastic band, nothing to it. And that's basically the maintenance of this unit. That's it. When you're done, put 2 of them on either side. They have room in the cover, just enough. Drop that on there. Now, like I said, we're going to try and use the exact same thread that those screws cut originally when they were put together. They started out as a nice clean 3D printed hole. That's just the right size for these screws to cut thread into and be strong, nice join. But we don't want to be cutting a new thread every time we put these screws back in. So the way in order to find the existing thread is to drop them in and with a gentle down pressure, rotate them counterclockwise backwards until they fall down into the beginning of one of the threads, if there's more than one. Should only be one, but you may make a mistake. As long as you, on a regular basis, whenever you put these screws back in, at any point on this, as long as you, on a regular basis, when you put these screws in, do that backward rotation. There's the drop into the beginning of the thread. Now, easily by hand, I can get started on that thread. So that is in the original thread that was there the first time. You're not going to be tearing up the sides of the hole down there and cutting all new threads all the time and just making a mess of it over the years. So I'll back this one up now until I get the same little drop at the beginning of the thread. Right there. Now it also goes in nicely. So they're in the same original thread. I'm not tearing up the holes, and this will last a lifetime if you do that. And just snug them down. Nothing has to be too stupid tight on this thing. Not even these over here, not even the ones down here. Nothing has to be too stupid tight. Just down snug. So, there it is. We got a new elastic band, or we've got a new difficulty. In this case, it's still the same 2.3 we started with. And it's very simple maintenance, very simple adjustment. That's the ultimate training aid. There'll be videos on how to use it. This thing is amazing in what it'll do for your game and what it'll allow you to learn. The whole point is this thing will allow you to learn things you don't even know exist. Pretty cool. But that's the maintenance of it in a nutshell. Comes with a bridge block. The videos will show how to use that. I hope you enjoy this thing. Very tight tolerance. If I take this tool and I set it up at 2.300, pick this up, using the bottom of this foot to help me hold it still. That is a seriously accurate gap right there. You didn't even see the rods move to put that in there, and there's no space on outside of the rods to the rods. I mean, it's exactly 2.3. 2.3. I hope you enjoy it.